Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Bob here, and this is going to be, I guess, like a new thing. My kind of health's been really poor lately, so I haven't been playing Everquest at all, and it's still quite poor. Yeah, normally what happens when normally what I do when that happens is I kind of go into hiding, hunker down, start a load of alts and stuff that will never ever go anywhere, but I just start them because I don't really feel like I can sort of manage anything else particularly. But I've been thinking about playing Everquest again recently, and I kind of not been particularly interested in what I've been doing, to be honest with you, for a number of reasons. I mean, I've essentially played a shaman now, pretty much from day one up until now, and I haven't really given any other class any time at all. I think the highest I've ever got on another class was a mage at level 34, which is no great shakes particularly. So I come back and I was kind of really feeling like I wanted to do something, I wanted to play the game, but I wanted to try something completely new. So I kind of had a look around, and the Bard is kind of like the class that it's one of those classes that I looked at. Let's go through some bits first. I'm going to play a human bard, which kind of allows me to pick my favourite face in the whole game. Yeah, so I mean, bards are a class that I looked at very, very early on when I first started playing on P99. I kind of knew a bard back on live, and a bit like I knew a bard and I knew an enchanter quite well, and I was always quite amazed by those classes. You know, the enchanter for what they were capable of. And the bard just for their uniqueness, I guess. You know, the way that they play, and the fact that they can do a fairly large variety of different things. Maybe not to the best of other classes, but certainly they're sort of capable. And I kind of went through their song list recently when I was kind of having a bit of a research, and so many different and interesting songs for many different situations. But what I quite liked about it was the fact that none of those. Well, I mean, obviously you've got like swarm kiting or whatever you want to call it. That's pretty OP. But I quite like the fact that you could do lots of different things like charming and crowd control and dots and all that kind of thing. But none of them seemed super duper overpowered. Like charming, for example, you have to kind of keep recharming and that kind of thing. And I think also what quite interests me about it is it's quite an active class. You're kind of doing lots. What I found with the shaman is it's got to a point where I'm doing the same things over and over again. And I guess what you can do is you can try and break out of that and try and do different things with a class. But those different things you try and do are obviously generally a lot less efficient. So you kind of go back to doing the most efficient things. Whereas I think with a bard, I think the way the class is designed and the way it plays, you've got no choice but to think on your feet and try different things and be active, reacting to different situations. Whereas with shaman, kind of not so much. So kind of all looking at all those things and wanting to try something a bit different, kind of led me to the bard essentially. And I've done some research. I mean, one of the things that put me off the bard early on. And it's funny, actually. I think one of a general thing I would say about EverQuest and Project 1999 is don't be put off by it. It's not hard, really. It's unforgiving and it's time wasting. I'll give it that, but it's not hard. You know, I experienced it again recently. The reason I kind of classes like the Bard were always a bit off-putting to me was I think to myself, they just seemed quite difficult. But when you look at it, they're not. And what you get is, like I said, I experienced it again quite recently. Is you get there are I've had it once or twice. There's a small minority of people who want you to think that EverQuest is some kind of it's almost like alchemy, you know, and only they've got the real secrets to it. And so that they'll do things like call you a noob and stuff because that's just what they do. Yeah, maybe back in the day, Everquest was their thing, and when they were in Everquest, they knew lots about it, and maybe that was their way of feeling superior to other people. I don't know, but yeah, but I've met a few people like that since I've been playing on P99. Yeah, these people that really do think that Everquest is some kind of secret. Has got some kind of secret source that only they've got access to, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I think if you encounter people like that, it's I think it says more about them than it does about you personally. But EverQuest is just a game that requires hand-to-eye coordination, timing, the ability to think through problems, and that was the other thing I quite liked about the Bard, was the fact that it's looking at all the songs. I'm thinking to myself, well, I was looking at it and thinking to myself, well, if I approach an encounter or I approach a dungeon or something, and I'm not saying that the Bard is be all and end all, and I know that enchanters and stuff will do all this kind of stuff better generally, but looking at a song list and I'm thinking to myself, there's so many different ways that I could have approached doing things to find out what the best option is for that particular kind of encounter. And I guess that's what enchanters do to a certain extent, but they've got more of a set toolbox, I think, that they will always use, although it's quite large. So that kind of attracted this to me as well, like the puzzle solving, but also it seems like a good class in groups. What I want to try and avoid, I guess, is being a bad bard. But I think they've kind of limited the amount of mobs that you can swarm with now. I think it's 25, so that I guess that kind of helps the situation. And I would always be a good bard. If there were people in the zone and there are people who are around where I was going to be pulling swarms or whatever, I would always talk to them, and if it becomes a problem, let me know, that kind of thing. And I guess the whole swarming thing is quite attractive because it allows you to attain higher levels quite quickly. But I don't know. I want to try and sort of complement that with learning to play in a group as well. Now, I've got no plans for this kind of class to be my main of any sort of thing at the moment, but I just kind of needed something different to do, so that's what I'm doing. So let's crash. So human bard. Why human? Well, because I just prefer the humans over the other races that can be bards, essentially. And I love this face. This is my favourite face. It's kind of like how would you call it? I guess it's kind of got a bit of like a goth overtone, like the black hair and stuff. It doesn't look anything like Andrew Eldritch, who was my hero, still is one of my heroes. But yeah, it's a more of a match than all the other faces that I've looked at. So I've looked at points and stuff, and my feeling is dexterity seems important for. I like humans as well because the stats are quite balanced. Dexterity seems pretty good for basically not missing songs. I think charisma is quite good for lulling and stuff. The only thing I haven't researched too much is I'm assuming that bard equipment hopefully has quite a lot of dex and charisma on it, but I'm not quite sure. What I might go is 15 dex, 10 charisma. What do you think? I guess that's not too bad. It's not too bad of a I don't think I've ruined the character there by doing that, but maybe you can point out something else. I want to start in Kenos because it's my favourite area. I'm not sure. I might stay agnostic actually. Like my kind of bardic knowledge from sort of medieval periods and Nordic mythology and that kind of thing. I don't think. Well, I guess the Nords probably would have been, but I think bards in medieval Britain and stuff maybe. I don't think they were particularly religious. I'm not sure about that now. Maybe bards in Scotland and Wales and Ireland may have been. I'm going to stick with agnostic, I think. I don't think I'm losing anything there particularly. Now for namings, I've kind of looked at different names. And I'm going for something of a... kind of like I've kind of looked at different words, like Indo-European, Proto-German, High German, Nordic, that kind of thing. And I quite like Skald. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, which is like a Nordic term. I think it means poet. But apparently the word seems to come from sort of like some sort of Germanic, Proto-Germanic, old High German type language, apparently. So I was kind of looking at that, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to just be Skald, because it's a real word, you know, and I'm not sure about that. And I was trying to think of surnames as well, and I was kind of thinking like maybe I was tossing up the idea of calling him like Skaldic, and the second word like poem or poetry or rhythm, Skaldic rhythm, Skaldic sort of poetry. Yeah, I'm not quite sure actually. And I was kind of, what I quite like to do is take a real word and just play around with it. I quite like Skaldi, put an I on the end. There's other words as well. I quite liked. What have we got? I'm just looking at some other words here that I quite like the looks of. I should say. I quite like Skeldan, which is to scold, blame, accuse, or insult. That's quite a good one. And the people doing the insulted are called Skelto or Skeltari, so I quite like that. But I'm not quite sure what. I'm not quite sure what surname I could fit on that. To be honest with you, I'm gonna. I might not even be able to have these words. So let's try Skaldic, and then the surname will be something like Skaldic poems, or poetry, or rhythms, or that. If you got any ideas, let me know. Of course, if you got any ideas for a name, I mean, as you know, I record my videos and put them up pretty much at the same time, so it wouldn't be a problem for me to start again. So if you've got any other good ideas for names, then let me know. I can always quickly start again. So this is how we are for now. It will probably tell me now I can't have Skaldic. No, it's not. There you go. So Skaldic poems, Skaldic rhythms. That might be quite good. Rythyms, or something. Yeah, Skaldic something along those lines. Oh god, damn it. Okay. There's Dagger Rock. I installed some new thing with different bars and things. It looked like it was going to be quite good for being a bard, like different to allow you to have different more than one hot bar. But I don't like the spell. The spells are just not classic whatsoever. The spell pictures, well, not classic for me anyway. So I don't like that. But I was going to stop the video here anyway, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and get on Mugwort. I don't have any. I'm going to twink him a bit. I've got no shame in saying that. I don't feel shameful in saying that. That's what I'm going to do. But I don't have any bard weapons at all. I don't have any weapons that a bard can use. So I'm going to go and log on Mugwort. I'm going to run over to East Common, see if I can buy a blade or two. Nothing amazing, just cheap for now. Maybe I'd be able to pick up an instrument or something. Anyway, yes, this is going to be, and what I want to do with this, because like bards back in the day were they were the keepers of lore, keepers of information for their kind of societies, their tribes, and in keeping with that, I kind of want to, apart from the gaming side of EverQuest, I kind of want to role play this character, kind of absorbing information from around him. So I guess a lot of that will involve maybe finding stuff to read, talking to people, but also doing quests. And I'll put those quests on YouTube, and then they will kind of be like they'll be like my bards attaining knowledge, you know, and then kind of passing it on. So that sounds, as you know, I do quite like a theme to a character. So yeah, there we go. We'll see how we get on. I'm going to camp now and go and buy a weapon or two. Yeah, so join me as I join me on my journey through bardic life. If you've got any tips or anything you think I should be doing, let me know. If you've got any tips and stuff that you want to give me that you don't want other people to know them, just send me a PM, and I won't do any recordings of that kind of stuff. Yeah, if you want to help me out, let me know. Give me some tips, give me some advice. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.